Little girl shares sandwich with homeless man. A lesson on kindness and where to place it. In a lively city filled with tall buildings and busy roads, there was a cozy little neighborhood that felt like its own special world. 8-year-old Lila lived here with her mom, Sarah, in a small apartment that was always full of love and warmth. Lila was a cheerful girl with bright eyes and a smile that could make anyone's day better. Her short, wavy hair danced as she moved, and her giggles filled their home with joy. Sarah, a hard-working single mom, poured all her energy into giving Lila a happy life. Their apartment was simple but colorful, with Lila's drawings on the walls, books they loved to read together, and a tiny kitchen where they cooked meals side by side. Even when things were tough, their love made everything feel just right. One sunny afternoon, after the school bell rang, Lila skipped out of class. With her backpack bouncing behind her, she headed to the nearby park, her favorite spot in the city. It was like a green island, in the middle of all the concrete, with trees and swings that made her feel free. As Lila walked along the path, she noticed someone new, sitting on a bench near the slide. It was an older man, with worn-out clothes and messy hair. He looked tired, his head hanging low, like he was carrying a heavy sadness. Lila's heart felt a little tug. She didn't know why, but she wanted to help. Slowing her steps, Lila watched him for a moment. Then she heard a quiet rumble from his stomach. Without thinking twice, she dug into her backpack and pulled out the sandwich Sarah had packed for her. It was her favorite, ham and cheese. But seeing the man, she knew what she wanted to do. Taking a deep breath, Lila walked up to the bench. "Excuse me, sir," she said softly, her voice small but kind. The man looked up, surprised. His brown eyes were gentle, even though they looked worn out. "Yes, kiddo?" he replied, his voice rough, like he hadn't spoken in a while. Lila held out her sandwich with a shy smile. "I thought you might be hungry. Would you like this?" The man's eyes grew wide, then softened, like he couldn't believe what he was hearing. He hesitated, looking at the sandwich, and then at Lila. "That's real nice of you," he said. "But I can't take your food. Don't you need it?" Lila shook her head, her hair swaying. "I ate a big lunch at school," she said, stretching the truth a bit, so he wouldn't worry. "Please take it. My mom says sharing makes everyone feel good." The man's face broke into a smile, showing the kindness that had been hidden under his tired look. He reached out slowly and took the sandwich. "Thank you," he said, his voice warm. "What's your name?" "I'm Lila," she answered, grinning. "What's yours?" "Henry," he said, unwrapping the sandwich carefully, like it was something precious. "You know, Lila, you've just made my day a whole lot brighter." Lila plopped down on the bench next to Henry, her legs swinging, since they didn't quite reach the ground. "Why are you out here all alone?" she asked, her voice full of curiosity. Henry took a small bite of the sandwich, chewing slowly. "Sometimes life takes you places you didn't expect," he said gently. "But kindness like yours makes it easier to keep going." They sat quietly for a bit, Henry eating, while Lila watched kids play nearby. When he finished, he turned to her with a warm smile. You're a special kid, Lila. Don't ever stop being kind. It can make a big difference. Lila nodded, feeling his words settle in her heart. As the sun started to sink, she knew it was time to go home. I gotta go now, she said, hopping off the bench. Will you be okay? Henry nodded, his eyes shining. Thanks to you. I'm doing better than I have in a while. Take care, Lila. With a wave, Lila headed home, her steps light and happy. She couldn't wait to tell Sarah about her new friend. When Lila walked into their apartment, the smell of dinner filled the air. Sarah was in the kitchen, stirring a pot of soup. She looked up as Lila burst in, noticing the extra bounce in her step. Hey, sweetie, Sarah said, wiping her hands on a towel. How was your day? Lila's face lit up. Mom, you won't believe what happened. Sarah raised an eyebrow, curious. Oh, tell me. Lila spilled the whole story, her words tumbling out fast. There was this man in the park, Mom. He looked so sad and hungry. So I gave him my sandwich. His name's Henry. And he said I made him happy. Sarah's smile faded a little, turning into a mix of pride and worry. She knelt down to Lila's level, putting her hands on her shoulders. Lila, honey. You gave your sandwich to a stranger? Lila nodded, still excited. Yeah, he was so thankful, Mom. You should have seen him smile. Sarah chewed her lip, torn between her daughter's big heart and her own concern. That was really kind of you, sweetheart. But we need to talk about being careful around people you don't know. Lila's smile dimmed. But Mom, Henry wasn't scary. He was just hungry. Sarah sighed and pulled Lila into a hug. I know you've got a huge heart, and I love that about you. But not everyone out there is as kind as you. We have to be careful. Lila nodded against her mom's shoulder, not totally understanding, but trusting her. Sarah pulled back, looking into Lila's eyes. Promise me you'll be more careful, okay? If you see someone who needs help, come tell me first. And we'll figure out how to help together. I promise, Mom. Lila said seriously. Sarah smiled, ruffling her hair. That's my girl. Now, help me set the table for dinner. As they worked in the kitchen, Sarah marveled at Lila's kindness. Even with their struggles, she was raising a daughter who wanted to make the world better. Still, as a mom, she couldn't shake her worry about the risks out there. That night, as Sarah tucked Lila into bed, she sat on the edge of the mattress, brushing Lila's hair back. I'm proud of you for wanting to help others, Sarah said. It's a wonderful thing. Lila grinned up at her. Really? Sarah nodded. Really. But we have to be smart about it. There are ways to be kind and stay safe. Like what? Lila asked, her eyes wide with curiosity. Sarah thought for a moment. Well, we could help out at a food pantry together. Or give clothes to a shelter. That way, we're helping people who need it. But we're doing it safely. Lila's face lit up. Can we do that, Mom? Sarah laughed softly. Of course, sweetie. We'll look into it this weekend. Lila snuggled into her blankets, smiling as Sarah kissed her goodnight. Mom? Lila whispered. Yeah, baby? Do you think Henry will be okay? Sarah paused, choosing her words carefully. I hope so, honey. Your kindness probably meant a lot to him. We can pray he gets the help he needs. Lila nodded, closing her eyes as she drifted off, thinking about her day with Henry. Sarah quietly left the room, shutting the door softly. She leaned against the wall, feeling the weight of being a single mom. Seeing Lila's pure heart made it all worth it. But she couldn't stop thinking about Henry. What had led him to that bench? It reminded her how quickly life could change. She thought about her own challenges. Long work hours, tight budgets, and putting her dreams on hold for Lila. But they had a home, food, and each other. And that filled her with gratitude. Sitting on the couch, with a cup of tea, Sarah opened her notebook, where she wrote her hopes and plans. Tonight, she added a new goal: find ways to help others with Lila. It gave her a sense of purpose. She might not change the world, but she could guide Lila's kindness to grow in safe ways. Together, they could make a difference, even if it was small. With a smile, Sarah closed her notebook, finished her tea, and headed to bed, sending a quiet prayer for Lila, herself, and Henry, the man who had touched their lives. The next morning, sunlight streamed into their apartment, filling it with a warm glow. It was Saturday, and the day felt full of possibilities. Sarah was making pancakes, while Lila sat at the table, humming and swinging her legs. What do you want to do today, sweetie? Sarah asked, flipping a pancake. Lila's eyes sparkled. Can we go to the park again? Maybe we'll see Henry. Sarah hesitated, remembering their talk. We'll see, honey. Let's eat first, okay? As they sat down to breakfast, Sarah felt a knot of worry. She was about to suggest staying home, when a loud knock at the door made them both jump. Who's that? Sarah muttered, wiping her hands as she walked to the door. When she opened it, her heart skipped. 2 police officers stood there, looking serious. Good morning, the taller one said. I'm Officer Carter. And this is Officer Lopez. Are you Sarah Bennett? Sarah nodded, her throat tight. Yes, that's me. Is something wrong? Officer Carter's face softened. We'd like to talk to you. And your daughter, Lila. About something that happened yesterday. Sarah's protective side kicked in. She glanced at Lila, who was watching with big, curious eyes. Okay, Sarah said cautiously. Come in. As the officers stepped inside, Sarah called. Lila, honey, can you come here? Lila walked over slowly, her usual skip gone. She looked up at the officers, a little nervous. Officer Lopez knelt down, smiling gently. Hi, Lila, I'm Officer Lopez. We just want to ask you about yesterday. Is that okay? Lila nodded, grabbing Sarah's hand. Sarah squeezed it, trying to stay calm. They sat in the living room, Sarah and Lila on the couch, the officers in chairs. Officer Carter spoke first. Lila, we heard you met a man in the park yesterday. Can you tell us about him? Lila's face brightened. You mean Henry? He was on a bench, and he looked hungry. So I gave him my sandwich. The officers glanced at each other. That was really nice of you, Officer Lopez said. Can you tell us what Henry looked like? As Lila described him. Gray hair. A scruffy beard. Kind eyes. Sarah's mind raced. Why were the police here? Had something happened to Henry? He had old clothes. But he was really nice, Lila said. Like my grandpa. Officer Carter nodded. Writing in a notebook. Did Henry tell you anything about himself? Like where he was from? Lila shook her head. We just talked about the sandwich. And how being kind is important. He said I was special. Sarah couldn't stay quiet anymore. Officers, what's going on? Is Henry okay? The officers exchanged a look. Officer Carter spoke carefully. Ma'am, the man we believe is Henry was found unconscious in the park last night. He's in the hospital now. Sarah gasped, her hand covering her mouth. Lila looked up, confused. Is Henry okay, Mommy? She asked, her voice tiny. Before Sarah could answer, Officer Lopez said gently, the doctors are helping him, Lila. We're just trying to figure out what happened. Why are you asking Lila? Sarah said, her voice sharp. She's just a kid who was being kind. Officer Carter raised a hand calmly. We're not accusing anyone, Ms. Bennett. We're just tracing Henry's steps. And Lila's talk with him is the last thing we know. Before he was found. As the officers asked more questions, Sarah felt a mix of worry for Henry, fear for Lila, and confusion about the situation. Lila answered honestly, her face lighting up as she talked about Henry's smile. Did he seem sick when you saw him? Officer Lopez asked. Lila shook her head. No, just tired and hungry. But he was happy after we talked. When the questions ended, Officer Carter handed Sarah a card. Thank you both. We might need to follow up. Call if you remember anything. Sarah took the card, her mind spinning. As she walked the officers out, she felt like their lives had changed. In some way she couldn't quite understand. Closing the door, Sarah turned to see Lila looking worried. Mommy, did I do something bad? Lila asked, her voice shaky. Sarah knelt down, hugging her tight. No, sweetie, you didn't do anything wrong. You were kind. Just like we taught you. As she held Lila, Sarah's thoughts swirled. How could she explain this to her daughter? How could she keep her safe? In a world that wasn't always kind? Is Henry going to be okay? Lila mumbled. Sarah pulled back, looking into her eyes. I hope so, honey. The doctors are taking care of him. We can pray for him, okay? Lila nodded. And they went back to the kitchen. But the happy morning was gone. Sarah tried to act normal, but her heart was heavy. Lila's small act of kindness had started something bigger than either of them could have imagined. And Sarah couldn't help but wonder, what would happen next? As they cleared the table, Sarah made a silent promise to guide Lila's big heart, to teach her how to help others safely. Together, they'd find ways to make a difference, one small act at a time, trusting that kindness could still light up even the darkest corners of their world.